Today, I'll be attempting to beat a Pokemon Scarlet Nuzlocke using only shiny rock types. The problem? Rock types stink, and Paldea might be the toughest region yet, with threats like Brassius and Kofu, and they aren't even the strongest trainers of Paldea. To be honest, I'm not even sure if this is possible, but there's only one way to find out. After giving myself a rock-like appearance, I ran into a problem. None of these starters were rock types, but I knew the perfect starter for this challenge.
Oh, yes. Oh my god, yes. Oh my god, I always missed that because I thought it was like the flowers. No, come back here. Yes, for Grove. Yes. Hey, hopefully it doesn't kill me. And it's level 14, under level cap. Yes, oh my god. Actually, goddamn huge.
With the adorable Topaz on the team, it was time to challenge Katie and her bug types. And we actually have the type advantage, which we abuse by terrestrializing Topaz and squishing Katie's Nimble and Tarantula. But her ace Teddiursa survives and retaliates with a nasty Fury Cutter, because for some reason, rock types don't resist bug moves. If Topaz misses his attack here, the run is over. Whew. Topaz connects and we win the battle, but that was the easiest battle of the run, and soon my rock types would have to face one of their biggest challenges. So I'm going to need another team member.
Oh, shiny. Oh my god. Don't you dare run from me, you little... Oh my, yes. Dude, I saw the red, but I didn't realize it was it. Let's go. Come here, you little kitty. Bonsly. Oh, look at him. He's such a cute little guy. Hey, bud.
We name our adorable new teammate Jade, who easily deals with the Stony Cliff Titan by kicking it with her rocky little feet, forcing it to run away. And with Arven's help, phase 2 was just as easy. The next battle, however, was this run's first major hurdle, as next up was Brassius, who uses grass-type Pokemon, one of rock type's worst matchups. But I had a plan, and for this plan to work, I'd need a new shiny team member. So far, I'd been super lucky as both Topaz and Jade took under a day to find. But my next target was Claw, one of the best shinies in Paldea. I wanted it pretty badly. Well, actually, I needed it to beat Brassius, but I wasn't ready for what was about to happen.
Oh, no. That's not what we're looking for. Hi. Oh, no. Wait, is that another one? Oh, boy, it's another one. Oh my god, seriously. Come on, bro. There's just no need. Come on. Are you serious? Man.
If you guys want a chance to win one of these shiny Nackleys, then like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments who your favorite shiny rock type is. Oh, and join the Discord while you're at it. After all that pain and countless hours, my OBS crashed, and thus my reaction to finding Lapis was lost to time. But now I had Lapis and Quartz on the team, so I think I was ready to take on Brassius. And I'd given Claw the devious anti-Brassius moveset. I start the battle by setting up a Stealth Rocks as Petil puts Lapis to sleep. But thanks to a held Chesto Berry, Lapis wakes up and one-shots it with an X-Scissor. Brassius then sends out his Smoliv, but this sad little plant can't do anything to Lapis and a rock-hard defense, as she's able to set up to +6 with Swords Dance. And at +6, Smoliv had no chance of surviving an attack, leaving Brassius with a Pseudo-Wudo, who betrays his heritage by terrestrializing into the rock-type sworn enemy. And normally we wouldn't be able to one-shot it thanks to its Sturdy ability, but because of the Stealth Rock's damage, its Sturdy is broken, allowing Lapis to one-shot the traitor. We had just beaten one of Rock's hardest matchups, but there was still a bunch of challenges ahead of us. But for now we get to chill as we have a pretty easy matchup against the Sky Titan, and with Jade evolving beforehand, this was going to be one of the few fights that I could just simply press buttons without any real thought, as Jade takes out the oversized turkey with a couple of stone edges. While that was pretty easy, Giacomo was going to be a real challenge, as his Poniard outspeeds Jade and brings her to just above half HP with a Metal Claw. Jade is able to one-shot it with a Hammer Arm, but if the Metal Diaper was able to do this much damage, then I'm worried about the real threat, Giacomo's Starmobile. Thankfully, it doesn't attack straight away using a metal sound to lower Jade's special defense, allowing her to hit a pretty weak hammer arm. I keep Jade safe by switching into Lapras, but she also gets hit by a metal sound, so after landing a big hit with X-Scissor, I have to switch again. This time I bring in Quartz, who, well, she tried her best, she tried. But at 3 HP, it's not safe to keep Quartz in, so I bring Jade back out, who is able to bring the Starmobile into the red before switching into Lapis, who finishes it off with an X-Scissor. Both Jade and Quartz were left at 3 HP, but we managed to get past the first Star Leader with 0 deaths. Well, now's a good time to take a break and look for the next shiny. And this is a rock type I've never used before, so I was pretty excited. But after 5 hours of hunting, something truly tragic happened. Oh, wait, was that shiny? Wait, where'd it go? No, wait. Where the hell? Dude, there's no way. Did it actually despawn? Yeah, that was definitely a shiny right there. That sucks, dude. Oh my god. But it only takes another hour or so for me to finally find Pyrite. Oh, wait, that's shiny. Oh, let's go. Oh, finally. Yeah, let's save, because this guy, you know, likes to disappear. Yes, let's go, dude. Alright. Okay, I messed up and thought the level cap for Iono was level 25, but it's 24. This mistake means Topaz evolves before the gym battle into Midnight Lycanroc. Sadly, I couldn't evolve it into its dust form because it didn't have the own temple ability, so, you know, please forgive me. A lot of people on my poll really wanted me to use dust form, just wasn't possible. Well, let's battle Iono. I lead with Topaz, who is able to set up 3 Hows against her Watch Rule. Topaz then one-shots it with a Rock Tomb, which brings in Belly Bolt. But since he's a bit chunkier, I decided to Terastallize, allowing Topaz to one-shot it with another Rock Tomb. Luxio then comes in and intimidates us, lowering Topaz's attack stat, but it's not enough for it to survive the Rock Tomb, leaving Iono with her ace Miss Magius, who actually outspeeds, but throws the fight by using Confuse Ray instead of just attacking, and Topaz breaks through and takes it out with one last Rock Tomb, securing my 3rd badge. Oh, and Quartz evolved after the battle, which was a nice reward. This brings us straight to Mela, but this was one of the few easy star bosses in the run, as Quartz sets up a Rain Dance, which further weakens Mela's fire type moves against our rock types. Quartz then sets up a Salt Cure, which slowly but surely takes out Torkoal, which leaves Mela with her Starmobile. Quartz hits a very weak Salt Cure, and since the damage over time doesn't stick, I switch into Pyrite, who I promptly Terastallize, boosting his Rock Tomb, which leads to a 3-hit KO, winning a super easy star boss battle. My rock type stop having fun around here though, as next is the Steel Titan, and then after that is Kofu, the water type gym leader. My current team doesn't have any way to deal with them, so I need to add another team member, one that could stand a chance against the upcoming threats. Oh, shiny. Yes! Oh, he's so tiny. I didn't know if I was, you know, going crazy or not. Oh, let's go. Oh my god. Hello. Oh, you're so cute. And so tiny. Hello. Oh, that's so hype, dude. Look at him. Oh, that's so vibrant too. Jesus Christ. Yeah! I waste no time evolving Emerald into the powerful Dreadnought, one of the few rock types that can save the run. And well, Emerald was meant to make the Steel Titan an easy fight, but Lady Luck wasn't on my side, as Emerald gets flinched on the first turn and then misses her Razor Shell. He does eventually hit an attack and makes up for the poor luck by hitting a massive crit, but the Titan brings Emerald down to just 2 HP before one last Razor Shell triggers Phase 2. That was super close, but luckily Phase 2 was a lot easier thanks to Arven soaking up some hits and making it a lot less stressful. I was going to need Emerald to pick up the slack if I had any chance of beating Kofu, and I was going to need to catch a Shelter, who I evolve into Cloyster. But hang on BP, that isn't a rock type, and you're right, but it does have Shell Smash, which we could transfer over to Emerald with a Mirror Herb, giving him the move that we'll need to beat Kofu without sacrificing half the team. And with that, we finally made it to Kofu, and I start the battle off by terrestrializing Emerald and setting up a Shell Smash, and on the next turn, a super effective Crunch is more than enough to one-shot Veluza, which brings in Wugtrio. But thanks to his strong durability, another Crunch is able to one-shot it as well, leaving Kofu with his Ace Crabominable, who tanks a Crunch and hits a hard slam, but it wasn't nearly enough to take Emerald down, so one more Crunch finishes it off, beating another extremely scary battle with 0 deaths. Unfortunately, the next battle wasn't going to be any easier, as I have to take on Atticus, who for the most part doesn't look too threatening until you look at his Reverooms, both of which have powerful steel type moves, but I had a plan. But for this plan to work, I was once again going to need a very specific team member.
Oh, wait, is that shiny? It looks a bit blue. Hang on, I'll save just in case. Alright, let's see. R. Oh, I think it is. Emerald didn't kill it? I think that's shiny. Yes, let's go.
Turquoise here isn't who I was looking for, and to avoid another Knackley incident, I decided to hunt for my next team member with the Outbreak method, and it took about 3 hours to find the team member that will help us beat Atticus.
Oh, yes, shiny Larvitar. Oh my god. Oh, look at him. Oh, I didn't know if the shadows were playing tricks on me, dude. Look at him, oh my god. Yes! Oh, that outbreak took forever, man. I don't know. Oh, we finally got ourselves a Larvitar. Oh, that did so much damage. Oh, let's go.
Peridot is pretty adorable, but I'm going to need him to evolve if I had any chance of beating Atticus. With Peridot becoming a Pupitar, my plan was now in motion, as Atticus leads the battle with Skuntank and I lead with Peridot, who gets hit by a Toxic straight away as he sets up an Iron defense. Normally being hit by a Toxic is a death sentence, but I stay in and keep setting up Iron Defense as Peridot's Shed Skin ability activates, which cures the poison. And thanks to his leftovers, he's now back at full HP. It hits another Toxic, but now I'm at +6 defense. So now I can go on the offensive, as Peridot almost one-shot Skuntank with an Earthquake. But it can't really touch us, as another Earthquake finishes it off. This brings in Atticus's Reveroom, but thanks to the defense boost, Peridot eats up an Iron Head, but unfortunately he flinches, so he does have to tank a second one, bringing Peridot below half HP before he one-shots Reveroom with an Earthquake. Next up is Muck, and 2 Earthquakes easily take it out, leaving Atticus with his Starmobile, but its spin out does barely any damage as Peridot hits some good chip with Earthquake. I hit one more Earthquake before I do eventually have to switch into Emerald, who can finish the battle off with a few crunches. Another deathless star boss battle, and probably one of the harder ones. With a new level cap, Turquoise is able to evolve into Colossal, and having a decently strong fire type on the team is a nice addition, and with the new upgrade, I think it was time to take on Larry. I lead the battle with Emerald, who is able to 2-shot Komala with a couple of crunches, and this brings out the Dunsparce, so I'm forced to switch into Jade, who unfortunately gets smashed pretty hard by a Drill Run. Jade then gets hit by another Drill Run, and then misses her Hammer Arm. I'm forced to make a choice here, and I sadly decide it's time to say goodbye to Jade, but in her last moment she hits a admittedly pretty weak Sucker Punch before being executed by a Drill Run, marking the first death of the run, and it was on our second team member. I bring in Lapis, who avenged Jade with a couple of Rock Tombs, which leaves Larry with his A-Star Raptor. We trade a couple of blows, but I'm forced to switch into Topaz, who takes massive damage from Facade. He then fails to knock Staraptor out with a Rock Slide, forcing him to tank yet another attack. If Topaz misses this next Rock Slide, then he could die to the incoming attack. But Topaz clutches up and finishes Staraptor with one last Rock Slide, winning the battle. We sadly had to say goodbye to one of our eldest members, but we have no time to mourn as Nemona forces us to battle straight away. This battle is actually pretty terrifying as Nemona now has a fully evolved Meowscarada. Thankfully, Emerald is able to sweep with Shell Smash, but this fight will only get tougher as her team gets stronger, and if anything happens to Emerald, I actually don't know how we're going to beat her without any deaths. With Rhyme's new level cap, we get a huge upgrade as Quartz evolves into her final form, the OP Garganacl. This evolution is essential for beating the harder late game fights, so I was pretty excited. But now it was Rhyme time, and honestly rock types are at their best in double battles as they get to abuse the power of double rock slide. Well, I mean, if they actually land the attack. This is further boosted by Pyrite's Power Spot ability, which boosts its partner's damage. This allows Topaz to one-shot Bayonet with a Rock Slide, though Mimikyu did sadly dodge the attack. Thankfully, Pyrite's attack hits and breaks Mimikyu's disguise. Topaz then misses Houndstone with his Rock Slide but is able to one-shot Mimikyu as Pyrite's Rock Slide half-shots Houndstone, leaving Rhyme with her final Pokemon, Toxtricity. And Topaz missed Toxtricity but was able to take out Houndstone with Rock Slide. Pyrite then leaves the ace with half HP before the field has to tank a discharge. Thankfully, Pyrite is able to live the attack despite his pure special defense, and Topaz can finish the battle off with a crunch, earning us our 6th badge, but that honestly should have been over in like 3 turns, not 5. We then had to take on another terrifying Titan as we have to fight the Great Tusk, a ground fighting type, 2 types that are really good against rock. I immediately Terra Emerald to avoid the super effective fighting type moves, and a Razor Shell does insane damage. But on the next turn, Emerald is left on 20 HP from a Brick Break, and then misses a Razor Shell. I was again forced to make a hard decision, and I decided to sacrifice Emerald for a free switch. But he actually survives on 1 HP, and triggers the second phase with 1 more Razor Shell. Thank God Emerald lived because he is our primary sweeper. Well, we can't breathe a sigh of relief just yet as we have to fight phase 2, but Arven tanked most of the attacks, allowing Emerald to take the Titan down quite comfortably. Emerald then quickly sweeps Nemona again, and thank God he lived the Titan fight or this battle would be almost impossible. This brings me straight to Tulip, and we haven't given Lapis much spotlight lately, which is a shame because, well, she's just a very pretty shiny, so I decided to give her the leading role against Tulip. And I start by setting up 2 Swords Dances against her Farigarath, who he then one-shot with X-Scissor. This brings in her Gardevoir, but another X-Scissor is enough to one-shot it, despite the attack only being neutral because of its fairy typing. Espartha is out next, and it's a little bit too quick and lands a powerful Psychic, leaving Lapis with red HP before it falls to another X-Scissor, leaving Tulip with her final Pokemon Florges. But because it turned itself into a Psychic type, Lapis is able to hit a super effective X-Scissor for the clean sweep, winning our 2nd last badge. Well, no need to waste any more time, let's go challenge the final gym leader, who is one of the rare boss battles that's actually weak to my rock types. Which means I don't really have to formulate a strategy for this one, as I just Terra Topaz, which allows him to one-shot both Frostmoth and Beartick. This brings in Titan, who I thought would live an attack, but no, it also just gets one-shot, which leaves Grusha with his Altaria, who also just gets one-shot by Rock Slide. Well, that was easy, but now we're in the late game, and well, our rock types are in for a world of hurt, and that's not even including the hell that is the Elite Four. If I had any chance of even making it to the Elite Four though, I was going to need to go on my last shiny hunt and catch the final shiny rock type of the run. Yo, wait. Is that shiny? Oh, it's so small. Oh, yes, it's shiny. Oh, he's so blue. Yes. Oh, thank God I noticed that. God, this Pokemon's tiny. Yes, let's go. Our final team member. Oh, this Pokemon. Oh, this shiny's just so sick as well. Oh, so let's go. I evolved Sapphire straight away, and Gamora here is going to be essential for beating the final Team Star bosses, which brings me straight to Ortega. Luckily, Sapphire's Terra type is poison, so I could avoid super effective damage from Aqua Tail, which allows me to set up to +6 defense with Acid Armor, while also setting up my Toxic Debris. With all this setup, I was also staying healthy with Leftovers Recovery, and Sapphire is then able to one-shot a Azumarill with Sludge Wave. This brings in Wigglytuff, but thanks to the poison spikes, it's now poisoned, which means Venoshock does double damage, so it's easily able to one-shot it. Dash Bun does outspeed, but it barely does any damage before also being one-shot by Venoshock, leaving Ortega with his Starmobile. But it can barely touch Sapphire, and Sapphire is able to take it out with 2 Sludge Waves. That was pretty easy, but the next 2 fights have me really nervous. First up is the water type Dondozo, a pretty scary threat for my rock types. But don't worry, I had a plan. I lead with Quartz, who gets smashed by a hard water pulse and hits a very weak Salt Cure. But the tick damage from Salt Cure actually does bonus damage to water types, which chunks the False Dragon every turn. So by stalling with Leftovers and Protect, Quartz gets to sit back and watch the Salt do all the work, eventually knocking it out. But it still had another phase to beat, but we're able to stall it out again and let Salt Cure and Greedent whittle it down till it faints. But now it was time for the real threat, Tatsugiri. Thankfully, it's still a water type, so Salt Cure still does boosted damage, but its damage output is a lot higher. Thankfully, it's only hitting Icy Wind for now, but it's only a matter of time before it uses a real attack like Dragon Pulse, which KOs Arven's Greedent. So now I'm forced to switch because an isolated Muddy Water could one-shot Quartz. So I bring in Emerald, but it ends up just going for Taunt, and then misses an Icy Wind as Salt Cure brings it low. It does hit a Dragon Pulse, which leaves Emerald on just 18 HP, but one more crunch is enough to finish it off, defeating the final Titan boss. But we were once again really close to losing Emerald. With a new level cap, Peridot is able to evolve into the strongest rock type, Tyranitar. And while it is super cool, it won't be any help against Eri, who uses fighting types, which is an awful matchup for Tyranitar and an awful matchup for my rocks. But I once again had a big brain plan. I lead with Sapphire, who I Terra into a pure poison type. This makes Eri's fighting moves not very effective and means Sapphire can hard wall Toxicroak, which lets her set up to +6 defense with Acid Armor, while staying pretty healthy with Leftovers. Sapphire then hits a hard Earth Power, which almost one-shots Toxicroak, leaving it on 1 HP, but another Earth Power can finish it off. This brings in her biggest threat Lucario, who uses special attacks, so it's able to hit pretty hard with a Dragon Pulse, and it also lives an Earth Power with 1 HP, which is pretty tragic because it means Sapphire has to tank another Dragon Pulse before we can finish it off. Next is Annihilate, who does laughable damage with close combat before being brought down to red HP from a Dazzling Gleam. And thanks to the poison from Sapphire's Toxic Debris, I'm able to protect and let the poison damage finish it off. Persimmon then enters the field, but 2 Dazzling Gleams take it out, leaving Eri with her Starmobile. The Starmobile sets up a shift gear, boosting its attack stat as Sapphire lands a hard Dazzling Gleam. The Starmobile then hits a high horsepower, but even with the attack boost, it's not enough to threaten Sapphire, who can finish the final star boss off with 2 more Dazzling Gleams. And with that, we're now finally ready to fight the Elite Four. This is probably the hardest Elite Four yet, as the first 2 team members use ground and steel types, which can easily destroy my wholesome little rock types. But I had to try. Well, let's see if my rock types can beat their superior ground type brothers. I lead with Sapphire as Rika leads with Whiscash, and Sapphire is able to set up a Stealth Rocks before getting hit by a 4-time super effective Earth Power. But she's able to live on 1 HP thanks to a held Focus Sash. I then switch into Emerald, who is able to avoid the Earth Power thanks to his held Air Balloon. I then Terastallize to a pure water type, which allows Emerald to safely set up a Shell Smash as Whiscash misses its Muddy Water. Emerald is then able to one-shot it with a Liquidation, which brings in Donphan, whose Sturdy is broken by the Stealth Rocks, which lets Emerald one-shot it with another Liquidation. Liquidation then proceeds to one-shot Dugtrio and Camerupt, but Rika's last Pokemon Clodsire has Water Absorb. But a strong jaw boosted Ice Fang is able to one-shot it instead, beating the first threat of the Elite Four. There was no time to rest though, as things only get worse as I'm challenged by Poppy, the Steel type user, another awful matchup for my poor rocks. But I had a plan. I lead with Quartz and set up an iron defense, which allows her to tank the incoming high horsepower like it's nothing. From here, Quartz can easily set up to get +6 defense while tanking very little damage. But my setup isn't over yet, as I then set up a Stealth Rocks. I then use the OP Body Press, which is a fighting type move that does more damage based off the user's defense, and at +6 this was doing massive damage, able to one-shot Cabraja and Bronzon. This brings in Poppy's only special attacker, Magnezone, who we normally couldn't one-shot thanks to its sturdy, but the Stealth Rocks damage is able to break it, allowing Quartz to one-shot it with a Body Press. This brings in Corviknight, who tries to steal our strat by setting up an iron defense, which does allow it to live an attack. It then hits Quartz with its own Body Press, but its damage output isn't very impressive. So how about you just leave this one to the professionals. Quartz can then finish it off with one more Body Press, leaving Poppy with her ace Tinkaton, who hits Quartz with the huge base 160 Terra boosted Gigaton Hammer, which tickles Quartz, who then retaliates with a one-shot Body Press, beating another hard counter. Next up was Larry, who used flying types, and it's another rare battle where my rock types actually have the advantage. I lead with Emerald and Larry leads with Tropius, and I set up a Shell Smash as Tropius absorbs the light. I decide to stay in and set up a second Shell Smash as Emerald gets smashed by a Solar Beam, but she's able to live thanks to her Focus Sash. And from here, I one-shot his whole team with Ice Spinner. It's nice to have a simple and easy sweep in this Elite Four run. This brings us to the final member before the champion, the beautiful-eyed Hassel, who leads with Noivern as I lead with Lapis. Lapis is sent to half HP thanks to a Super Fang as she sets up a Swords Dance. Dragon Pulse then leaves Lapis with 12 HP, but a held Ugu Berry brings her back to 77 HP, and Lapis is then able to one-shot Noivern with Rock Slide. Dragalge comes out next, but High Horsepower is able to one-shot it, bringing in Haxorus. I Terra Lapis, but Haxorus outspeeds and lands a nasty Iron Head. But Lapis toughs it out with 1 HP, but then flinches. So I'm forced to bring in Emerald, who eats a couple of attacks before setting up a Shell Smash. Ice Spinner then one-shots Haxorus, and of course Flapple had no chance of surviving, which leaves Hassel with his Baxcalibur, who actually survives the attack and kills Emerald with a Glaive Rush, ending the life of this run's carry. Really sad to see Emerald die this way, as we wouldn't have won half this game without her. But we have to move on, so I bring in Quartz, who finishes the battle off with a Body Press, bringing us to the champion. But before we take her on, we have to remember those we lost along the way. Well, it was time to become champion. Geeta leads the champion rank battle with Asprathra, and I lead with Peridot, who one-shots it with a Crunch. This brings in Avalugg, a huge threat to my rock types, with it having access to Body Press and Earthquake. I definitely need to switch Peridot out, so I bring in Lapis, who gets half hit by a Body Press, and I knew I didn't have a safe switch, so after hitting a Rock Slide, I get ready to say my goodbyes to Lapis, but she survives with 1 HP. Maybe if we flinch with this Rock Slide, then Lapis can live. Oh. Sadly, Lapis couldn't clutch out the win, but now I can safely bring in Quartz, and I use this chance to set up an Iron Defense as Avalugg lands a weak Body Press. Quartz is then able to set up 2 more Iron Defenses and then heals with Recover. And honestly, looking at how much damage Avalugg was doing, I might have just been able to switch Quartz in. But Quartz finally avenges Lapis, who was like a sister to her since they joined the team at the same time. The battle isn't over, however, as Geeta then brings in Veluza. It uses physical attacks though, so even with it being a water type, Quartz can easily tank its super effective attacks and then take it out with 2 Body Presses. Next was King Gambit, but being 4 times weak to Body Press makes it one of the biggest overkills of the run. And then next was Go-Goat, but it's also weak to Body Press, so it's another one-shot, leaving Geeta with one of her few special attackers and her ace Gamora. But even special attacks can't threaten Quartz, who one-shots it with 1 last Body Press. My rock types have finally become champion rank, but they aren't done yet as we still have some absolutely terrifying battles ahead of us. Well, Arven wasn't really one of the threats, as Peridot now has access to the broken move Dragon Dance, which raises the user's attack and speed stat. I set up 2 of these in front of Arven's Earthquake Ingredient, and then proceed to one-shot his whole team. Well, until Mabastiff, who enters the field, and with its Intimidate ability, Peridot is now only at +1, so it's able to live a Terra boosted Rock Slide, but Peridot flinches it, and we can finish it off with an Earthquake on the next turn. I'm glad I spent half the run trying to heal Oven's dog just to brutally execute it right in front of him. And well, it's more or less the same story with Clavel, as Peridot sets up the +3 and then sweeps his whole team. Yeah, turns out Dragon Dance T-Tar is actually pretty damn good. I'm surprised, I don't know about you guys. Unfortunately, all of Penny's Pokemon have baby doll eyes, making it basically impossible to set up with Peridot. So instead, I lead with Sapphire, who 3-shots Umbreon with Dazzling Gleam. This baits in Penny's only real threat as she sends in Vaporeon. Sapphire is able to dodge the super effective water damage by terastallizing into a pure poison type, but Venoshock is still doing pitiful damage, and Hydro Pump was still hitting hard. Thankfully, I could protect between turns to heal with leftovers, and a second Venoshock then brings Vaporeon down into the red, and a Hydro Pump leaves Sapphire on just 15 HP. Thank God for leftovers. We luckily outspeed and can finish Vaporeon off with a third Venoshock. I then switch course into a very soft Flare Blitz from Flareon, and I use this chance to set up to +6 defense with Iron Defense. And well, Flareon has no real way to deal with Quartz, and we are able to one-shot it with a Body Press. Leafeon was next, and please don't let my girlfriend know, but I brutally squish it with the weight of my Minecraft house. Jolteon then misses its Thunder, so Quartz can one-shot it with a Body Press, leaving Penny with her Sylveon, and it hits a massive Terra boosted Moonblast. Thankfully, I gave Quartz a Wiki Berry, healing her back to green HP, as Body Press fails to one-shot. But thanks to the berry, Quartz can survive another Moonblast with just 30 HP, and win the battle with the one last Body Press. I guess that's what you call a housing crash, am I right? I'm hilarious. With all the fodder out of the way, it's time to take on Nemona, but this time we didn't have my favorite Nemona sweeper, Emerald. I did still have a strong sweeper in Peridot, but this wasn't going to be a risk-free setup, as Nemona leads with Lycanroc and I lead with Peridot, which activates her Sandstream ability, which in turn activates Lycanroc's Sand Rush ability, which doubles its speed in sandstorms. Nemona thankfully wastes the first turn by setting up Stealth Rocks as we set up a free Dragon Dance, but Lycanroc still outspeeds and hits a nasty Drill Run on their next turn as Peridot sets up a second Dragon Dance. Lycanroc still outspeeds however, and brings Tyranitar low with Drill Run, but I decide to risk it setting up a third Dragon Dance, and at +3 I thought Peridot would outspeed, but Sand Rush proves to be too strong as Lycanroc hits another huge Drill Run, leaving Peridot on just 12 HP before we one-shot it with a Crunch. And well, from here the battle should be easy as Earthquake one-shots Pawmot, Firefang one-shots Orthworm, Crunch takes out both Goodra and the Dunsparce, which leaves Nemona with her final and most threatening Pokemon Meowscarada. But at +3 speed, Peridot can outspeed and one-shot it with a final Crunch. Lycanroc made that a pretty scary fight, but we thankfully made it through without losing another one of my sweepers. And we're going to need all the power we have to beat the final battle against AI Sada. Sada starts the final fight off with Slitherwing, and I lead with Sapphire, and I set up a Stealth Rocks as Slitherwing hits a weak low sweep, which also sets up a layer of Toxic Spikes thanks to Sapphire's Toxic Debris ability. Low Sweep lowers Sapphire's speed however, so Slitherwing can outspeed and kill Sapphire with a Zen Headbutt, but in her death she sets up a second layer of Toxic Spikes. I bring in Pyrite who tanks a Zen Headbutt and then lands a massive crit Rock Slide. Slitherwing then lowers Pyrite's attack with a Lunge, which allows it to survive a second Rock Slide with barely any HP left. Slitherwing really didn't want to use Low Sweep for some reason, opting for another Lunge, but Pyrite survives and a third Rock Slide takes out Sada's first Pokemon. Brute Bonnet comes in second and Pyrite is able to hit a very soft Body Slam before being killed by an Earth Power. I bring in my Fire type Turquoise, but Brute Bonnet actually outspeeds and lands a massive Earth Power as Flamethrower fails to KO. I can't switch anyone into an Earth Power, so I let Sada claim a third life, but the poison damage finishes off Brute Bonnet, giving her a free switch into Screamtail as I bring in Topaz. Topaz avoids the incoming attack and almost one-shots with a Rock Slide, but Screamtail barely hangs on, and then heals a bit of Drain Punch before falling to a second Rock Slide. Sandy Shocks was 4th, and this was a pretty scary Pokemon as it outspeeds Topaz and kills my starter with an Earth Power. This battle isn't looking good as I'm just left with Peridot and Quartz. But thanks to Peridot setting up the sand, his special defense is now allowing him to tank a couple of Earth Powers while setting up 2 Dragon Dances. Now I was ready to turn the fight around by Earthquaking Sandy Shocks for the KO. Fluttermane then joined the battle but Crunch easily one-shots it, getting an unnecessary crit, leaving Sada with her Roaring Moon, who lives an Earthquake and kills Peridot with an Earthquake of its own, losing my second sweeper. It then barely lives the poison damage as I'm forced to send in my last surviving team member, Quartz. But an Earthquake doesn't even proc her Sturdy, as one last body press wins us the final battle of the run, and with that, I've beaten a Pokemon Scarlet Hardcore Nuzlocke using only shiny rock types. Check my shiny water and dragon runs on screen, stay safe, thank you all for watching, see you next time.